I run them all off. All the movies, some of the stuff is still down there. They're preparing themselves to starve to death or to be, the people that's teaching them are teaching them how to be a good slave, how not to be free. This is how you don't be, and then pay anything, and then that's okay. No problema. There's no problem. But in the old days, the people would prepare, I sent a message to my father once when I was in South America, and I sent a nice young lady, which he said, that's a pretty nice young lady there. He says, that's that New Orleans, that Creole. I said, yes. And she told my father what I told her. I said, he was running, just a gambling place down there on East 14th. And when she used to handle all my business, up here. That's why the Negroes didn't like it, because, she was handling all the, I was one of them, the employment was, I would have her watching all the white girls. If I sent a plane load of white girls back strapped all up, well, she would be the manager. She would be there, with them to make sure they didn't, once you touch ground and ain't nobody to snatch you up, you might say, I have a whole kilo of pure cocaine and it's worth so much money. Maybe I'll disappear. Something like that. So she used to, but so she used to, and the Negroes got mad because they didn't want that. What do they call it? Macho niggas didn't want to pay no attention. Excuse the expression. No bitch. Picking up stuff. I said, she's doing my business. I can't come inside the U.S. So she's picking up things and putting it where I was. Anyway, to give my father a little something. He liked when you give him money, because he had money of his own. But he didn't let no money go. If he had money, boy, look at here. He never. He was old type, but I learned everything I learned on that stuff from him. And my family didn't like him. That's how I learned about people. My whole family would connive to get money from him. Everybody, brothers, sisters, except my second oldest brother, he did, and my oldest brother. But everybody else, sisters, they would connive with my dear mother, which is my dear mother. She's nice. But they would connive to get money out of him. And my father would tell me, he said, yeah, I just test your mom every now and then. So he'd count his money all the time. Then he'd throw a $5 bill over there and just see who'd take it. And it would always disappear. I mean, and he wasn't going to put no $20 or $30, $50, $100. He wasn't going to use up that. He just used, and he probably worried the rest of his life about that $5 that he got away. But anyway, I had the girl go back. Everybody called them Creoles. They used to call them Creoles. That New Orleans mixture. And, so I just sent a message. I said, you just tell my father basically stuff that grown men don't say. I like you and I really appreciate, who's going to sit down and do stuff like that? Well, we didn't, but every now and then you'd make a slip up and say, just tell him that. If you say it, it's okay. I'm not saying it, Dad, I just respect you and which is true, because that's where I got the game from my family, watching them. If I could survive that, shoot, a little kid, I'd fill up my drawer with silver dollars, and they would be gone. And I'm the youngest in the family. I said, dog, that's kind of cold. Yeah, I'm the youngest, and I'm saying, oh man, that's cold blooded, and of course, you know who got them today, but anyway, so I learned about the game before I even left the house, and anybody else was paying attention would know it too, But anyway, and they collaborate to get the money, and if you don't leave them something, they'll never forget that. Anyway, so serialization. That's what we're breezing into, and I won't elaborate on that much more. But that's the things that happen, the things that we want to present, and we'll present them the way it's good, sounds good, and we'll keep a little humor, a little drama, right? Right. We'll call it mystery stuff like the shadow knows or something like that. Yeah. Why not? What the heck? White folks do it. Why should we be stuck up and all our jaws tight about this stuff? And we're dealing with, I won't call people names like dummies. I won't do that. But you notice the big Zionists and took themselves out of the picture. The FBI came here, they took themselves out of the picture. Right? They did. Abdul Malik them is floated away. Even the people right down the street, I may mention them in a talk, but you don't never hear nothing about it. The only one left is they're nice people. And believe it or not, we're going to help them. They need help. They actually need help. Because if you can throw a line out and start reeling and you slow down a little bit, then whoop, there they go. You have to teach them, look, just like, I don't know if y'all ever heard a story that is the old fish was telling the little fish. It said, look, if anything ever come down like that, leave it alone, don't bite it. Because there's a monster up there. He has 32 teeth. He has a pot, which you don't know what a pot is, but it's boiling oil. And he don't never see no boiling oil. This is nice, cool water down here. This is a nice environment. Don't bite that hook. If you do, this is a big monster. It's going to pull you up and you can't breathe. And it's going to cut you in little pieces and drop you in that oil. And the little guy swims around and he said, I don't see nothing like that. Right? Here comes the hook. And up he comes. He gets lucky though. They throw him back. And then now he's telling, he said, look, I know what the hell I'm talking about. I already know this. Now you don't know it? Look, there's a monster up there, right? And if he pull you up there, you breathing and having plenty of fun now, and you can wiggle around, you can't do that up there. And he'll throw you out on there's stuff up there they call ground, and you can flop around, but you can't go nowhere. He got you tied up, and you're going to dry up and die. And he may just start cutting on you and drop your butt in some burning oil, right? Which is, of course, true. That's what they do. Fishermen, he got his oil right there. If he, to eat, he cleaned his fish right there, and and pop them in the oil. He said, "This is fun. This is nature, right?" That's the same thing that we're telling everybody. Look, I already know the game. Boss man is who he is. It ain't nothing he can do about it. You don't need to know more information on him. He's living up to his title, right? He's doing that. And he don't care your sweet children, he don't care nothing about them. Half the time, he don't care nothing about his own. If they don't go along with the program, boss man, the people, the poor little white kids at Kent State, when they were shooting them down, the white kids told us that's 1970. Them long-haired white kids, they're nice folks, and they said, "Hey, you guys got a lot of work to do, man." And like you guys, first it was just officers all together, and they was white, of course. Had that long hair, they start clipping it off. You know why? Because they said, "Daddy is serious. He don't kill you in Vietnam. He kill you. He'll kill you, me, right there." That was a shock. You know what I mean? Can you imagine how shocked those white kids was? They said, what? You can see the little girl is leaning down on the boy. What the hell is this? Right? What is they? Huh? Yeah. Why is this? Why they couldn't even? But one thing they knew, Daddy and all his crew is serious. They'll take us out with them niggas, and then they got the Negroes with heroin and stuff, but they got their white kids with acid and crank, methadone. White people always like that methadone crystals, what the.
You know what? The talk now is about that. That's like the new spiritual awakening is acid. People are going to, practitioners and being counseled on tripping.
Which kind of trip to go on?
Yeah, so that's they're bringing that back to where it's normalized. Why? So they're recycling that spiritual.
No, they recycle everything, and then look, they misled them. They gave us the Negroes, and they gave them white kids, Timothy Leary and them. Turn on, tune out, something other, run him crazy. He never got killed, and he died of old age. They just did a number. Those people are serious about their wealth. They're not happy with it, but it's all they know. What's the name? Get the little magazines, People or something. Rashid. So I've been. You could probably tell. I've been. It comes to the house, so I read it. This week, Jennifer Lopez is on there, and Ben Affleck. Affleck. You know he's an Arab because of the name Affleck. Michelle Affleck is the one started the Ba'ath Party, same party in Syria, and the same party, the Ba'ath Party, and he's a Christian Arab. So if his name is Ben Affleck, he's an Arab. Don't make no difference. And poor Jenny, she's a Puerto Rican, but she plays nice roles. She could play white people. She could play all kind of stuff. But she likes Negroes. Her and Puff's daddy, them was all, they're all. But they're not happy with all the stuff. If you get what, you know what I mean? This stuff should help people understand. That's why I was reading the stuff about the other little white lady. The one that is taking all the money. Britney Spears, free Britney. She was lucky she had all them white folks, right? They was working her to death in Vegas and just because they could. I mean, she didn't even get no time off, and they said she's crazy. You know, well, if she's crazy, then don't work her so hard. But anyway, we get a chance to visit that stuff, and we don't find nobody happy, no matter what they got. I don't, you know. Therefore, there is no happiness in what they're doing. Now I feel a little different. I'm all right. So I would like that everybody had some type of stability like that, where they, was all right.